Hey, it's Acquired Taste, and I'm back again with the Get Thick meal. Today, we're going to be cooking oxtails. So, I'm going to start off with washing the oxtails. And so, if you're just adding water, so much, and some vinegar. And we're just going to let that soak to make sure everything is clean.
Okay, so now I'm just starting to season the oxtails with some seasoned salt, some allspice, some paprika, some onion powder, some adobo all-purpose seasoning, and some salt, and some black pepper. Now I definitely should have used a bigger bowl. So now we're just going to get all those seasonings into that meat. So making sure every piece is fully covered with some seasoning. Good to go. Okay, so now we're going to get some Maggi seasoning. Making sure every piece of meat is getting doused. Make sure that's good and marinated with the meat. Now, after this, you could let your meat marinate for a couple of hours. I did not, so and mine came out great and delicious still. So if you don't have any time to wait, you can still have you some delicious oxtails. So now we're just going to brown the oxtails before we put them in the crock pot. So I'm going to be adding some coconut oil to the pan and letting it heat up. Okay, so now I'm just checking to see if it's hot enough. And now I'm just going to add the oxtails to the pan. Just gonna pour them right on in. Stir them around, making sure, they're getting some direct heat to start getting the browning. So I'm gonna let it sit and brown a little bit like this, and then I'm going to add some beef broth that I have. And I'm going to let that sit for about 15 minutes. So now we're going to get the crock-pot ready. We're going to use our diced onions and those pieces of ginger to put at the bottom of the crock-pot. And I am going to season the onions with some adobo, all-purpose seasoning. And some onion powder. So now I'm going to add the oxtails. And then now we're going to finish seasoning the oxtails. Okay, so we're going to start with adding some garlic, minced garlic. Then we're going to add some soy sauce. Making sure to focus on the oxtails to get them more brown. And some Worcestershire sauce. Again, focusing on the oxtails to bring that color. Okay, so I do have some Scotch bonnet sauce. I cannot find a Scotch bonnet pepper. So if you have that, that would be fine. You can just pop it right in. But I have some sauce, and it did the job. Not so much. So we're going to give it a good stir. Yes, it does already smell good at this point. So we're going to add some scallions. Some thyme. So, fun fact, I did this as an Instacart order, and so I was going to have butter beans, but they were out, so I wasn't able to add it. So if you are able to grab some butter beans, this would be a time to add those. So now I'm just, I did run out of beef broth, so I am using vegetable broth. So I'm adding some vegetable broth to cover the oxtails. If you don't have vegetable broth, you can use water. So I'm going to put my slow cooker for 8 hours low. Fun fact, this is the first time that I'm making oxtails, and I did fall asleep during around the time I was supposed to add the carrots. So about 2 or 3 hours in, you can add carrots. So this is after it's fully cooked, and I'm just doing a check. You know, my oxtails had a lot of fat on it, so I'm just trying to check to see if that fat's going to come off like butter, and it does. I'm just showing you guys how all of that fat was coming off. I was so happy. So yes, I'm taking off all of that fat. Of course, I won't consume it. So I'm just smelling it. It looks so good. Everything's just falling apart. You see the onions have just withered into nothing. It just was so delicious, so tasty. And so this is a real quick and easy meal. I'm like good to go. And so now we're going to make some rice to have some rice to go with the oxtails. So I'm just making the 10-minute boil in the bag rice. And so now this is just a 1 cup. I just use this to help show how many, how I was able to come up with how much water I was going to put in. So basically I just put in 3 cups of water. My camera did die when I actually placed the rice in there, but yes, I'm only using 1 bag of rice because I only am cooking for me, But yes. And I am going to add some, once the water is brought up to a boil, then I would add some butter. And then I'm going to add some salt to the water. And so after 10 minutes or so, the rice is done. I add some more butter, of course. Now it is time to eat. So this is just another meal that, I'm making just so I can make sure I'm keeping my calories up. And so I ended up just making the carrots with my salad. So yeah, just to have some vegetables with it. I would add more things to my salad, but just letting you know that you need just some vegetables with it. But the meal was great.